Ant-Man #1. That's right, folks. While you're all sitting around celebrating your 60th anniversary of Spider-Man, some of us are out here celebrating the 60th anniversary of Ant-Man, because this is a character I like more than Spider-Man, and that's saying a lot. It's true, though. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I've just been a Hank Pym fan for a while. Maybe it's because I am a massive supporter and a massive fan of Janet Van Dyne, and I am just, through osmosis, becoming a Hank Pym fan. I think the character has been poorly written forever now, and they can't really get him out of that hole. But maybe to celebrate 60 years of the guy who hit his wife once and was ruined for comics ever since, he can get out of that funk and do something impressive. So, you get a talented team together to tell a really compelling story, and you surprise me with how just in comic book this book is. So, we open up in the narrative temporal placement. It is GGAU or 99AU 2549 AD, which is the present day, and we are seeing that the MRVL trademark narrative experience is being created for this guy, and we don't know his name. That's a spoiler warning, and it's just played up like, hey, you're part of the Marvel narrative now. You can go back in time and relive Marvel stories. So this guy gets on a platform, jumps through time, and he's looking at like, who is the Ant-Man? What is the Ant-Man? Why is the Ant-Man? When is the Ant-Man? Where is the Ant-Man? And he lands sometime in the past during just some really fun romper that I think is fake. I can't tell if this is like made from a story already existing, but he uses characters that exist. It's alone against the antagonist. So, let's get some context for this story. The rest of this book is pretty much what if Al Ewing and Tom Riley took the concepts of the 60s and made a book today about it. It is literally drawn that way. The writing is that way. The thought bubbles we have, the over-explanation of the dialogue is like that. It is really annoying, but that's the point. This is as close to a 60s comic book we are probably going to get this year. So here's the thing that's going to happen. I am not going to read the dialogue bubbles to you because there are so many words, and half of it is just people thinking about things they already know. I'm just going to tell you the plot. Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, they're going to a movie. They're watching the new Namor Versus movie for some reason. Some kids throw popcorn at Hank. He gets really pissed. He storms off. You see the kid walk out of the theater trying to hit on some dame, and he's like, I know. I'm going to prank the kid and put ants in his popcorn. So he does that. The kid freaks out, and then some guy in shadows is like, ah, yes, the Ant-Man is here. A good thing I have this wrist-mounted radio transmitter to signal the others for time for our revenge. And as that's happening, Hank just grows back to the size of a normal guy. The lady that's running like the concession's like, Ant-Man, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, I'm here for these ants. I saw that they were just doing stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm here to fix it. So he sends the ants away. And then our time-traveling guy from the beginning shows up, and he just uses his hands. And he's just like, be gone, ants. There you go. See you later. We'll talk in a minute. And he's like, wait, how'd you do that to the ants? But before Hank could get his answer, guess what? He's hit in the head with cleaning fluid, and he's paralyzed because the window washer. I hate the 60s, man. The window washer has paralyzed him with his cleaning spray, and now he's going to get sucked into a taxi with the Time Master, and what's the other one? Trago, the man with the magic trumpet. And they're all working for Gerald Marsh, the Protector, so they paralyzed Ant-Man, and they froze him. And now they're just like, we're going to use our combined forces to bring you down, you stupid ant boy. And I'm like, look at these stupid characters that nobody will ever use again. You son of a bitch, Al Ewing. You just said, here you go. Here's some parts of Ant-Man's past from Tales to Astonish. Okay. And he's like, here's how we get a whole, like, humongously exploratory scene where it's like, here's how I got them together. Who cares, the Protector? Who cares? As that's going on, Hank's trying to use the rest of his abilities to communicate with ants to send a message to Janet, and he does, and she's like, well, I guess I'll just jump out of these clothes and shrink down to the wasp and just fly away with this ant. And they start hearing the music of the trumpet, and she sees a burglar trying to break into where the music's coming from. She's like, hey, good thing I caught you. Don't do anything shady, mister. Gives him a kiss on the nose, and the guy is Scott Lang. He's like, okay, that's it. I'm moving back to Florida. Weird book. So what happens? What happens? Well, the Wasp comes to save her husband. They get into a fight. The Time Master hits Hank with his time gun, turns Hank into an 80-year-old man, and now that Hank's 80 and the Time Master's 80, they can beat each other up equally. Just beats him up. And then you see, if I hit the window washer's bottle with enough time, say 500 years, even the plastic will degrade. So the bottle breaks on the window washer and he paralyzes himself. Hank turns himself back to the normal age. They stop the protector. That's the story. They lock him up, and Hank, once again, he sees the mystery man from the beginning of the book, and he's like, "You, mister, I know you. You're the one that did the thing. Come back here." And Hank tries to chase him and falls through the floor, goes through time, sees all the different iterations of himself. Now, folks, let me see if I can remember all the iterations on this page that we are seeing of Hank. We have Goliath, Yellow Jacket, Giant Man from modern times, Hank Ultron, which I hate that he's still kind of in that realm, and then one in a jacket I cannot remember that I'm guessing is West Coast Avengers time when they just said lab coat because he's the smart one. Cool. Falls through a portal, the time changes and the art style changes. He's like, "Where am I?" And we see that the man that brought him there is the Ant-Man, and he's like, "Yo, I need your help, Dr. Pym, to save the world tomorrow from the deadliest menace of yesterday. It's probably going to be Hank Pym." But the version of Hank Pym that's a piece of shit and is connected to Ultron, that's who it's probably going to be. And it's like, this Marvel narrative experience will be continued. Thank you. And that's how the book ends. And I'm like, that's hilarious. This is great. Like, the fact that we're doing a book about Hank Pym where he's not being presented as a piece of shit, but just a quirky weirdo who's like on levels of weird with like Hank McCoy and Reed Richards, that's where he should come back to. Please. And this just makes me go, okay, the Wasp is really close in like age to him in terms of like their premiere and their debut. Are we going to get a 60th anniversary of the Wasp? And if we don't, Marvel, if you need somebody to write it, I will drop everything I am currently doing and write that script for you. And screw it, man. I'll do it all. We'll just do this exact same book, but it's going to be Janet, and it's going to be sick. So it's fun. It looks like the next issue is going to have Eric show up, which I'm like, hell yeah, what's he been up to? I like it. This is really cute and interesting. A definite, just a fascinating story for an Ant-Man 60th anniversary. Which, by the way, if he wasn't in the movies, do you guys think we would have got this book and Ant-Man would be such a compelling character? I think Hank Pym would just become the piece of shit he is. Like, we're not trying to fix him. I guess we're not trying to fix Hank in the stories either. Does nobody have a good Hank Pym story to make him better? Is that what we're saying? I feel like because of the movies and just because of like the bullshit of Legacy, Janet and Hank have kind of just been pushed back to like, yeah, they're kind of like the older generation. I don't like that. Janet should be your Wonder Woman. Please just make her somebody important. But I like this book. It was really fun and interesting. Great art, great writing, great homage to classic comics. Very fun. So Ant-Man, number 1, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.